Today, I'm going to do a walkthrough of my art booth setup for art festivals, and I'm going to do this video in two parts. To start, we're going to do a test setup here at home. That way I can talk through everything because at the art festivals, it's a little bit chaotic. And then of course, for that second part, I will take you to the art festival to show you my final booth setup. And today we will talk about everything from the hanging hardware to the canopy, to the panels, the lighting, electricity, you name it. So let's go ahead and dive in. So to start us off is my canopy, one of the things I cannot live without as a full-time artist. This is the ABC canopy that I got off of Amazon over 5 years ago, and I just actually recently had to get some replacement parts that were super easy to get and easy to replace. So this is a really high quality and nice canopy. I will say, as you can see how heavy duty it does take up a lot of space in my car. I drive a Kia Sorento, which is like a small SUV. And if I put the back seats down, it pretty much takes up most of the car lengthwise when it's back there. If you don't have that space, there is a company called Flourish Designs where they have a canopy that actually breaks down into smaller pieces, so you can look into that. But otherwise, if you have the space, I highly recommend this canopy. And I can actually set this up alone in 5 minutes, and I will show you how I do that now. So this is my booth banner. I designed it in Canva and then I got it printed on Etsy. And then I just got these little bungees to secure it onto my tent. So next, really important, are going to be your canopy weights. These are the ABC canopy weights I got off of Amazon to go with this tent. Mine are filled with sand. You can also fill them with rocks, or you can get the actual weights that are just kind of like blocks of weights that attach to the legs. There are a whole bunch of options, but depending on what state you're in or where you're at and how windy it's going to be, you want to plan that weight accordingly. For this test setup, I only have 3 weight bags because I have one on my tripod, but let's set them up right now. ABC Canopy also has an awning that comes with this tent, and I actually use it most weekends when I'm showing here locally, but I don't use them at fine art festivals. But if you are at a festival that's really sunny and it might look okay for the aesthetic, you can put that awning out, and ABC Canopy has a really nice one. It can be a little bit tricky to set up, but once you get it, it's easy to do. And then I also have the walls, which I'm going to set up right now. And these just Velcro onto the inside. And then there is a door for the front that is like a wall, but it has like a zipper that you can get in and out of if you want to close it up at night. Now, just for timing purposes and for this test run, I'm not going to do the sides, but normally you would zip the sides up, and of course the bottoms would be nice and taut. So I'm not going to do that here, but you'll see for the final setup it's going to look much nicer. Now let's talk panels. So these panels that I have behind me are pro panels, which are kind of the higher end of the standard panels that most fine artists have. But as I mentioned Flourish Designs earlier, they also have panels that are mesh, so they just roll up. So they're a lot less bulky to store and travel with, and they also look really nice. So that's a really good option if you don't want to get these big bulky panels. Pro Panels also has a half-size knockdown panel. So they're basically like 2 panels half the size. So it's a little bit less bulky on that end as well. I will put a picture of what it looks like when I travel with these on top of my little SUV. The panels themselves aren't that heavy, but to get them on top of the rack of the car, you need 2 people to do that. I also keep mine stored in these little Pro Panel storage bags, and I have 3 to a bag. And so I just take those 3, and there's 2 of us that lift it onto the car, and they stay in their storage bags as I travel so they don't get dirty when I'm driving. And as for storage, when I'm not using them, right now they are just in a corner of my living room, but we are building a storage shed out here that's going to house them once that's finished. Now, I bought my Pro panels on Facebook Marketplace for $300. I think brand new they run around $1,100 for a set of 9. That's without shipping, so they can get pretty pricey. And as for accessories, these are the ones that I have right now. So I have 2 corner stiffeners and then 4 standard stiffeners. I actually have another set of 2 standard stiffeners on the way to me right now. You really, at minimum, you need 4, and then 2 corner ones at least. But to be safe, you can also get 6 standard stiffeners. And then I also have these 2 support bars, which you'll see go up here in just a minute. And as far as how they connect together, they actually just have Velcro on the bottoms and the tops. And then they also have little telescope extenders on the bottom, so you can raise them up and down if you're on uneven pavement. So here you can see it doesn't sit quite flush with the ground. So if I just twist this to the right clockwise, it will then extend down to be level with the ground. I'll just show you a little bit closer what the Velcro is like. These are double-sided Velcro, so it has the male and female on either side, so it just wraps around itself. And then here you can see where the support bar connects onto the stiffener. And this one has 2 different sections. I don't know if you could see me in the video twisting both, but there is one connection and then here's a second extender as well. So those need to be tightened and it just goes straight across over there. Here are the corner stiffeners. And then like I said, I have 2 more coming for these back 2 as well. And this is much easier to set up when you have 2 people doing it. I'm alone for this test run today, so this was a lot of work. Now that my tent is set up, I am sweating and I'm gonna go take a little bit of a break. And then when I come back, I'm gonna start hanging all my artwork, and then we'll talk about the hanging hardware and all the extra necessities that you need to bring to art shows. So let's talk hanging hardware. Now, back when I started, I did not want to spend several $100s more on hanging systems. Pro Panels has the nicest hanging systems, but they are very pricey, so I went with more of a DIY option. I got the hooks as well as the wire and then the grippers individually off Amazon, and these have worked really, really well. So you don't need to spend a lot of money. I will place all the links below. And then when I'm done today, I'm actually going to tag all of the cables with numbers. That way I know which cable goes where. That way, as soon as I get to the festival, it's a lot more efficient for me to know what cable goes with which pieces, so I can just hang them right where I left them for the test run. And to show you up close how the hanging system works, so I put the large hook just over the top of the Pro panel, like this. And then these grippers, you just press down. This one's a little bit sticky right now, but you just press down to slide them up and down. And then these wires, I just wrap up so that way you can't see them hanging below. And the tags are just these little labels. I just got the cable hanger in from Pro Panels, and oh my gosh, this is going to be a huge lifesaver. I was previously carrying them in a plastic box, but they would get incredibly tangled up. So this just helps them stay nice and organized. And yeah, I highly recommend getting one of these. Now, for my metal prints and my small originals, I did something a little bit different this year. I got these kind of command strip nail version hangers, and I just put Velcro on the back. I just find these a little bit easier because having too many wires and grippers can be a little bit trickier to work with. So these I can just move around as I please. And a lot of my metal prints have sawtooth hangers, and I learned the hard way that you cannot put hooks underneath them because they will pop out. So this has worked great during these test runs for my metal prints. And similarly, with my small originals, I got another type of hook that I just put Velcro on the back of. I don't think it's the Command Strip brand, but I will place all the links below. But this has worked really well. You just got to be really careful that when you're hanging on any of these hooks, make sure the wire part and not this ledge is actually sitting on the hook before you take your hands away. I've done that before. So that's something to be mindful of. But yep, these are super easy for these small originals. They just hook right on like that. So let's talk electric and lighting. And this is assuming that the art festival you're at does not have electric hookups for artists, which I think is the case majority of the time. But I use a inverter with a battery. And these batteries are just the same batteries that you would use with home power tools. We use the Milwaukee brand. My husband also uses these for work. So we just needed to buy the inverter. Each one of these runs about $100, $120. So you're looking at a couple $100 to get this, but these are lifesavers. Especially if you take payments by credit card or on your phone, you need to have your device charged throughout the day. And this inverter has a USB port as well as a regular outlet. And I usually don't use more than one battery. I also don't really show at night, so I'm not running lights constantly, but usually one battery will last me a whole show. Now, in terms of lighting, Pro Panels has a lot of options of lights that go on top of your panels that are very professional, but they are, of course, on the pricier end. I don't usually show at night, but if I am at a festival, like I've done a few non-fine art festivals where I've used these string lights, and these can just hook around your tent with hooks. I use the smaller hooks for those, and those hold up really, really well, and they look really nice. And then for Christmas type of festivals, I have some Christmas lights. And then this is, I think it's called a lantern light. I got off Amazon, of course, and it just hangs on the side of my tent. This is extremely bright. It just charges by USB, but this is great to have on hand, especially if you're just like even packing up when it gets dark out. This is wonderful to have on hand. I just hang it on the tent and it just faces the artwork. Now, as for additional items that you'll need to bring, this is my square card reader, and I also have the other one that just plugs right into your phone, the little one. I like having both in case there's issues with any of them, and then I also like to bring my iPad in case there's issues with my phone. And then I will bring this toolbox, and in here I will have risers. These are great to put under your table in case of uneven surface. Screwdriver, very important to bring. Scissors, all different kinds of tape. I bring artist tape, masking tape, regular Scotch tape, and then I bring some dusting cloths. And I also have a photography dusting bulb coming in that will work really well to just blow dust off of my artwork. I always bring a fan. It is usually really hot at festivals. I'm in the sun, so I love having a fanner of some kind on me. Always bring extra Velcro, lots of it, and some extra bungees. And then here is my business card holder and my follow me on Instagram sign. And I will also have a sign up for paying by Venmo in case they forgot their credit card for whatever reason or their phone and they want to pay that way. They can bring, or we can bring that. And then of course I will bring a whole bunch of pens for my sign up sheets and all of that. I think I forgot to mention to also bring zip ties and a small step stool. That will help when you need to reach up to higher areas. And of course, for yourself, you're going to want to bring a change of clothes, sunscreen, lotion, lunch, snacks, anything that you need to be comfortable for working an entire day. Now, the last thing that I'll have set up that I don't have up today is my director type chair as well as my easel so I can do live art. Now, I have fallen in love with doing live art. I've been doing it for a really long time. I actually kind of broke through that barrier of nerves and performing in a sense in front of people at my first show. But now I do it multiple times a month, and I've really found that happy medium between providing customer service as well as working on my piece at the same time. And I found that it gives me something to do. So I'm not just staring at customers as they're going through my booth and kind of putting pressure on them as they're looking. But again, it just takes a little bit of practice if that is what you want to do. I also have a very unique medium and not a lot of people know about it. So it does help me to demonstrate it to them so they can actually understand what it is. So give it a try if you're feeling up for it. All right, that is all I'm going to talk through here at my home today. Let's go ahead and head over to Art Walk at Liberty Station. Oh, a few more things first. This is how I transport all of my original artworks. I make these protective sleeves out of Reflectix home insulation, which you can get at Home Depot, and I label everything so it's easy to find when a piece sells. And these are amazing because they are so much stronger than regular bubble wrap. And this is my tracking system for my prints. I only leave display prints up because they are handled all day long and I don't want the prints that go home with customers to get damaged. So I assign each set of prints a number and I have that on my tracking printout. I then add labels to the stack in the bin so I can easily find it when someone makes a purchase. All right, I am all set up here at the Art Walk at Liberty Station. I got here just before 6 a.m. today for a news interview, so it has been a long, hot, exhausting day. It's extremely humid, but it is now 5 o'clock p.m., time for the show to start, and it's going all night tonight, as well as Saturday and Sunday, so I'm super excited to be here, and let's show you around my final booth setup. All right, so here is my final booth setup. This is where I do live art. You can see my director's chair with my easel, my work in progress. There are my metal prints, my print bin, and here you can see the signage. There are my price tags. Here's for my prints. I have an author bio there. I'm sorry, artist bio, not author bio. And then of course the please do not touch signs are very important. I have those scattered throughout my booth, at least for my medium. And then here is my table. I have the bookmarks, I have the small originals, the Sketchboard Starter Kit, and of course, very important is the follow me on Instagram QR code, my business cards, and the newsletter sign up. Underneath my table is where I have all my storage, all the packaging, and then around here is where I keep my payment card reader, my electricity, all of that. This is my inverter as well as the battery you can see there, and that's it. Oh, and I did decide to hang my string lights up for the evening at this show, so here is what it looks like. But that is all I have for you. I hope this video was helpful. Please let me know any questions that you have in the comments and don't forget to subscribe.